everyone. I just want to give you a grand announcement that I finally quit smoking today. Thank you for joining in. No, I appreciate y'all listening in and tuning in and whatever. You might notice that I don't have a camera or anything set up. I got gameplay footage going on, but that's only because I do not have the video equipment right now, but I just wanted to get this out there, and it's only me for right now until I get some more other people. So, let's get this going. The first 30 minutes of this is going to be about compliance and how society wants you to be compliant, and the next 30 is going to be about the depression and everything that results from being compliant and everything that is associated with what's going on in today's world. Now, a little history on me. I grew up in different time periods and decades where I've seen people being lifted up by entertainment, music, and just around a lot of good people. But those were in fairly smaller communities than, say, the big cities, the hoods, and whatnot. Which I've been there, I've lived in them myself. But I've been mostly a student my whole life, because truthfully, there's no such thing as masters. There's people that are smarter than others, but there's just people who think they're masters just have too damn big of egos, to be honest. But what do I mean by compliancy? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to give you a little history of how things were. Those who don't have good as memories as me, or wasn't brought up in the same timeline as me. There was a period of time up until about 2006 or 7, back when the big recession was the first big recession was going on, and to my memory, there was a time where TV shows, music, and everything was made of multi-ethnical, dimensional people who just wanted to bring the spirit of uplifting and helping others, and be your own person, do your own thing. Don't submit or commit to the hive mind mindset. Shows like Family Matters, shows like, well, that was a big one. But we all loved Urkel back then, and we still like him. Now, you had shows like Boy Meets World, you had Friends, you had shows about different people from different backgrounds coming together and break bread. You had music, especially in the hip-hop industry, where a lot of them older rappers, hip-hop artists, and everything, trying to encourage speaking of people on the streets, speaking of their lives, speaking of what they had to go through back then to make it where they are now. And it was a struggle, and it's continuing to be a struggle. But now the artists who have made it big seem to have evolved into the entities they once protested and fought against. They see you as the enemy now because you don't prescribe to their way of thinking. It's because they want you to be compliant. They want you to think, hey, I'm over here, so I must stay here. I must think a certain way. I must do certain things because I'm this certain kind of person. I come from this certain ethnic, financial range, and this is where I'm going to stay. This is all conditioning people to I'm just going to say it, the communist mindset. People who think, oh, this is just big conspiracy theory person again. No, and you can go take that and shove it. No, I've met, known, and been to some of these countries under this type of rule, which communism is another offshoot or another saying for socialism. Now it's, you are right here, that is where you are going to remain, and anything you somehow gain is going to be taken. Think of the man, I can't think of his name, but it's the man who created Tetris. There for the longest time, the government of Russia, Tetris was owned by them. Until they finally, let them have it after, communism fell and just more lax laws kind of fell into place, and they became a little more open. They're still a little more closed, but they're a little more open than they were back in the early 90s or back during the Cold War era. I'm sorry, it's pretty late right now. I've been trying to do this recording forever, but the Tetris was owned by the government, even though an individual made it, everything. No, it was owned. Just like right now, they're trying to silence anybody who's trying to think for themselves, who are trying to go against what's they're wanting to call the social norm. It's because they want you to comply and stay complacent where you are at and everything else. Your favorite artists from back then are not the same people they were when they started out. It's I made my way, you all better buy my stuff or else. And truthfully, there's more of us than them, so you can sit there and go, or else what? This is why you got bands like Metallica, and I can't think of the other artists who have gone out and made their own labels and everything to get out of the big tech, big business, big industry shadow and thumb, because they can't sustain that stuff. But now, with them being independent, so to speak, they can do whatever the heck they want. And you got some of them that are getting so cocky and so egotistical that if you don't like anything that they crap out of into their solid gold toilet, then you are this, and that, which is pretty bad, because back then they would sit there and go, man, you support me? Thank you, but you don't like it? Well, what do you, in your opinion, think that I did wrong in this? Back when people used to actually talk to one another, used to work and bounce ideas off each other. Now, they'll sit there and have AI do it, or they'll surround themselves with a bunch of yes people, and they want you to comply with what they say, think, and do. They want you to say, hey, you come from here, you must be thinking like this, you must be doing that. When really, no. Back in the 90s up to pretty much the Obama times, which it started creeping in there towards the end of the Bush era, of people being your own thing. Do you. just because you're this doesn't mean you have to be right here. There's people uplifting everybody. There was people, from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different cultures, just coming together, having a good time. It was a freaking block party. Everybody used to party like no tomorrow. Like, it was pretty much the best time to be alive. Now, people can't sit there and talk to each other without looking at the screens, or looking at their phones, or they can't even be in relationships, really, because they think, oh, there's several billion people in there, I'll just go pick it up. No, dude, it's, you know what, you're cheating yourself by being compliant to this way of thinking. You are actually limiting yourselves. I believe in a higher power and everything, but I believe we are transcendental beings, meaning that we have more potential than what mainstream media, world governments, and all these influencers and everything want you to believe. It doesn't mean because you come from here. The only reason why there's different skin tones and all that crap is because of the geological placement where your ancestors, my ancestors, grew up, and the process of the evolutionary state, which I do believe in evolutionary per se states to a point, but no, your genetics, and they've proven all of our genetics can be traced back to two single beings. We all bleed the same color. That is what we used to say. You bleed red. Unless you're bleeding green, dude, we are going to be cool as hell with one another. Alright, it's like I used to run a convenience store back down in Texas for a few years. There's this one gentleman, Mr. Hernandez, Hispanic guy. He actually came to this country about 30 years ago. He came on a work visa, and that guy, he started out stereotypically, to be honest, working construction, but he sat there and saved and saved and saved. He ended up becoming a citizen. He's had a family. This guy owns about 75 acres down there, but he also runs his own horse farm. He does this. He knows the American dream, and he wanted to live that, and he instilled that in his children. He wanted them to grow up better. And he hated back then, he hated how everything was going. But no, he did not want her to be complacent. He didn't want to think just because he was Hispanic, he had to only be around Hispanics. He only had to work construction. He only had to, do whatever the culture is of the stereotype. He did not want to be complacent. He thought outside the box. And this showman, I tip my hat to this guy. He is one of the ones that I've known that lived the American dream. He was an immigrant, but he did it the right way. And he came in and he was rewarded for his hard work. And that's the problem nowadays. People getting compliant. They want you, the government and everybody wants you to be compliant. Because you are here, you have to be here. And you will remain there. You have to be the stereotype. Which, really, no. We are transcendental beings. We have the potential for greater things. Ancient monuments, ancient structures, everything shows that we were a lot more advanced than we are today. And it's not because of the computer chips we make, but because of the ideas and thoughts, philosophies, theories, discussions, the ideas we would bounce off of each other we used to have. Not anymore. Now it's because you don't agree with this, you are this. Because you will not comply, you will be denied. And you just think to yourself, why? It's just my opinion. No, you must be part of the hive mind. They want to arrest people for having a different point of view, which is gosh darn ridiculous. Why do you want to be like everyone else? What does the hive mind do? It's because they want you to be controlled. They incentivize people who are staying in the stereotypes, preferably in the lower lows of society, really. People who want to not get out of the ghettos and stuff like that, which there's a lot of people who really want to get out of there. But now, since they're losing them because they're realizing, hey, a couple years back, we ended up having a little more money and we had more jobs. Now they're like, oh, dang, we'll just incentivize other people. And, you want better look, just watch the news on that. This ain't really a newscast. This is just opinions. This is discussions helping other people. But how do we get out of being compliant while being successful on it? Well, one thing is always play your cards close to the chest. It's anybody who's familiar with poker and stuff like that, we all know, never show your intentions facially. Never sit there and have that ego. Don't give the other person, the idea in their mind to be like, hey, I bet this guy's got something, or this guy's got something up his sleeve. No, you play it close to the chest. You just be there blank face. You sit there, you go, okay, I will go and say like, yes, I am going to go do this job, but I'm going to take this money. I'm going to set this part aside. I don't give a dang how much you guys are taking out, but I'm going to just take out this much. And, when the time is right, it's all about biding time. And you can sit there and go, hey, now that I got this, I am going to use this for the dream that I have. Now, other people on the news, social media, and all this would sit there and go, well, you had this the whole time and you didn't do what we wanted you to do with it. You sit there and go, no, because I am thinking of the larger picture. That's the problem. Everybody wants to be in the here and the now, not working towards a better tomorrow, not sitting there willing to put in the work, whether it be a job, relationships, anything nowadays. They just want you to comply and be complacent in the situation that you are in. To be that person who's going to just sit there and say, yes, feed me more, feed me more. Why? Why do we gotta do that? Why do we gotta put up with that, for crying out loud? But shoot, I got about 10 minutes left on this subject. But no, just do that, y'all. Do not be compliant. Don't fall in. Yes, there are billions of people in the world, but if you feel that sensation with someone and everything, and you know that they are not complying to the social whims or the standard order of things, and they're willing to go that extra mile and whatnot, don't take advantage of them. In fact, be there and help with them, because great societies, great places, if they learned from anything from history, great societies and great places have formed over people of different backgrounds, making something great, helping one another. Great empires, great structures, hell, even technology. It's because it's the bouncing of ideas off one another. It's doing this, doing that. It's helping one another. Reach out that hand. Form that relationship. Keep that bond. You know? I'm not going to mention any names out of respect, but which probably one day or another, probably meet her. I have talked with this one gal, with this one woman, and we've been forming a good relationship and a good bond. We are both from different backgrounds. We are both different ethnics. But we have that respect, and we bounce ideas off of each other. And there's a lot of things we believe in. A lot of the same things we believe in. But is everything absolutely 100% tip-top perfect? Like, this is everything? No. But that's okay. It's okay to have them differences. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us people. We are not part of the matrix system. We are our own individuals. Being transcendental beings and everything, we feed off of the energy of one another. If this one person's hyping you up, this one person's giving you everything, and they're doing stuff, then that's worth keeping and fighting for. Not, oh, well, just this one time, this one thing that really didn't matter in the long run happened, so I'm just going to say boo and no. That's complying with the status quo of the world now. And it can actually ruin something that could have been like the greatest thing ever. But no, because society says there's, plenty of people and everything. Guess what? Everybody's not going to do it. Be the one in a million, not one of a million, or in this case, billions. Because everybody's becoming the same. Be compliant. If you are compliant, you will eventually get to have this one day, if we think about it. Maybe. I don't think so. But no. And all that time you did wasting away, upholding to the social norms of the day, truthfully, was it really all worth it? Was complying to everything really worth it? Did you lose someone because you just went with whatever the heck somebody was spoon-feeding you? Did you lose out on a job or an opportunity? And the opportunity is a wide range of things. Only because society said because you are this and you are that, don't go for it because you will be denied. Did that ever happen? Please let me know. But yeah, just let me know, because we all deserve better than that. And like this girl I'm talking to, I know she can do a lot better than me, which makes me feel lucky that I have this person in my life right now. But that's the thing. We can all come together, and that's pretty much proof right there. Anyone can come together and go against the ideas, the social norms. So I'm gonna take a small break, but I will be back in just a second. Plus this time's nearly reaching the 30, but just hear me out. Just do not be compliant to anything. Do not uphold them, because you are giving them power and you're losing your power. I mean, think about it. You vote these Jabberwockies into office, and what do? They have done nothing for you except make your life miserable. But they say because you are here, you are going to be compliant, and if you are compliant, we might do this. No, it's be different, be something else, be something greater than what you were taught because of your background. I'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, I'm back. No, the video's still going, but the little time I had to take a little break. But the compliancy leads other people to be in a more state of depression. There are more depressed people nowadays than there have been in probably recorded history. If back then they must have been really good at hiding it, because now, good Lord, you couldn't find anybody who's not depressed. And that's going back to being compliant and everything. They say you had to look a certain way, act a certain way, and everything. And when you're not meeting them goals that society has placed on you, then yeah, you're going to be depressed. Nothing is going to be perfect. We are not perfect people. And that's because of the mindset we have set ourselves onto. We are transcendent beings. We are meant for a higher purpose and a higher idea of imagining. But society is pushing everybody way, way down, and it's causing everyone to be depressed. Think of this: a man who has done everything for, say, the family he has or wants to have. He went to school, he got the grades, he went to college, he built savings, he built a house, he built everything, and because that's what society deems that you must be. But he gets in there, he does this, then eventually he gets that wife, he gets however many children, and everything seems good. But since society has told the lady that he is married, or where your leanings tend to go to, says, hey, there are this many people out there, if he's just working and not doing this, but he's busting his ass, then you know what? You can go off and do this and that instead of working and coming together, and the partner ends up leaving, causing the man who did everything to fall into a deep depression. But that's what society and social media and the government deems now to be the norm. It's there shouldn't be families, there shouldn't be this. It's all a globalist ideal to, one, decrease the population, but for some reason it's only meant for over here and in the European countries. The other countries, even though most of them are in a much harsher dictatorship, are wanting more families and stuff. But no, it's only Western countries now that because of this, you can't have the dream, you can't have the ideal, and it's causing more people to be depressed. It's like let's just say a mother who's with child and is about to give birth to said child. There for about a period of 6 weeks or more, they are going to fall into a period of depression. And the depression is because they spent 9 months, they've gotten used to something within them. They've gotten used to that baby in them, feeling something grow, feeling something develop inside of them. But now it is out. Now, even though the baby's out and, the mother loves and cares for it, she's depressed because something is just not fulfilling. It's more like what's the best word I could put it? It's the best way of saying there's that need, there's that want inside all of us. Once it is not in us anymore, we get depressed. Like the man with the family. If the family gets broken because the social status and quo says, hey, you didn't get this, so joke's on you, you're gonna lose everything. Over what? Over something that society says. So you lose it. You lose that purpose, you lose that meaning in your life. Just like the mother and the baby, she was carrying it, she was growing it, she was wanting to create something, but then it's gone. Well, not gone in a death sense, but gone out of her. It is leaving a void. It happens to both men and women. Men on a different way, but women on another way as well. And the same can be reversed as well, as far as the household thing, where the wife, she's built up everything and whatnot, and she meets this great guy, and he goes, because social says, oh, you have this, and women as well, you have this, get this ego in you, and then just say, the hell with it. And what do? You just destroyed somebody's life. Somebody who's willing to go the dang distance for you and build something for you, and you're just going to go and screw that up, and you leave this person in a state of depression, all because the societal and social talks and what they deem on you to be what's acceptable, what's to be the norm. You must comply to what we say. otherwise this. And guess what? You just find yourself in a bigger state of depression. You know, that's why there's a rise up in mental illnesses nowadays. I, for one, am one of them individuals who did have it all at one point in time. And because of people just running their mouths, conforming and becoming complacent in what society deems to be it, it all came crashing down. I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff in my past, because I feel like I've moved past all that. I don't want to be that guy sitting there whining and crying about it all. But that's just what I mean. It's society is destroying people. Going back to what I was talking about with this lady that I've been chatting and talking with. Like I said, I'm not going to mention any names because I am going to be respectful. I will say, both of us were not in a good position. Both of us were not in a good position mentally, I should say. But talking and working with one another and everything, we have actually elevated one another. I don't know how much I have done for her, but she says it's a lot. But I know, as far as I'm concerned, she's done a hell of a lot for me, and I've grown to really actually love this woman. But that's just the thing. That's going against what society says you must be complacent with. See, when you go against the norm, you might find and connect with others. You can get out of that mindset. You can get out of that state of depression. Now, is there still some there? I'm pretty sure there's some on both sides on this relationship we are building together. But that's the thing, is we keep talking and working, and a lot of that stuff doesn't even matter. I don't think of my past like that anymore. I think that, okay, that's just something that had happened. Now that this has happened, none of that means anything anymore. But, could some stuff have been avoided and worked on? Of course, that's with everybody. But, I'm not going to sit there and harp on it because I don't care to. I have plenty of family members that have gone through relatively the same thing. And I always try to tell them, especially now, is just try to work on it, man. Everybody's getting to that point. And especially in society where they're saying, stay independent, stay this, stay that. Well, guess what? Independency, it might be good in the short term. You'll have this, you'll have that. But there's always going to be that void. There's going to always be that piece missing. And you're going to try to find anything to really try to fill that void. And it's just a dang shame. We shouldn't be having voids like that in our lives. We should be talking with one another, building understanding, building relationships, and talking and making something great. Even after all the tragedies and everything. And yes, things can scar us. Things can scar us and mess us up mentally. But that's also why we talk to one another. We build up a mutual understanding. We help one another. We put aside whatever the heck society deems as the social norm. Um, you know, like this lady, like this woman I talked to. We're building a good relationship, I hope. But she also believes in being a transcendental being as well, which is great. And we bounce ideas off of each other, and that's the thing. Building off and bouncing ideas, and it's I learn from you, you learn from me. I might not agree with one thing, but you don't necessarily agree with the other thing, but it's all right because we're trying to stay on that same level. It's called being respectful and building that mutual understanding with one another. Another example is the co-worker I work with. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm trying to be respectful. He suffers from a lot of depression and mental illnesses as well. And he's trying to do music and all this stuff, but me and him will sit there and have conversations about the industries and politics and stuff like that. But like I said, it's bouncing ideas off one another. He doesn't particularly like one thing that I'd like, but that's all right. I'm not here to freaking judge. There's only one that can judge us, and I'm not that one to judge. But we are here for a higher purpose and understand we are all made of the same energy. It's just where we come from. And because they want us to be compliant with where we came from, they want you to stay in that line. You move one foot out of the line, they'll sit there and try to take you out like there's no tomorrow, or try to screw your life up worse than you can ever imagine, which is ridiculous and stupid. But how to get over this depression? Well, that's the tricky part. It's no matter, there's famous people, quote unquote, that have suffered big depressions and are no longer with us, which is a darn shame, but that's a whole conspiracy in another. But getting over the depression in your own lives, it just depends on where you're at in life, really. If you manage to just be in a 1-bedroom apartment with just a burner and a toilet, there's a little start right there. It's like going back to the story I was telling about Mr. Hernandez. He was an immigrant that came here he told me about 20 books in his pocket and just started working construction and lived with a bunch of people. But he made it. I believe y'all can make it too. But we gotta open ourselves up to that change and try to help one another. Not for handouts, but for that support and respect and mutual understanding with one another. I want to make this section a little longer, but the depression, it's a work in progress. Don't make it a crutch on yourselves. Go against the social status, because those who always went against the social status and norm, depending on if you kept your cards close to your chest, have always come out on top. Don't let anybody else know, unless they are there for you and wanting the best for you. Do not let anybody else in on your plan. Do not show them your cards. Keep them close to your chest. Do not say anything. If you find that one person, whether it be romantically or just friendship, hold on to that, because if it's bettering you, keep it. That is where you will find happiness. I don't got all the answers, and I don't claim to know everything in the universe, but it is common sense and common knowledge to help and to be there. It doesn't take a lot to do it. Now if I'm saying, somebody wants just 10 grand and they're just having their hand out saying, give me it, I'm mentally depressed. No, don't do that. Those are just freaking beggars and such. But help somebody else, and help them in the right way. You see somebody sitting there probably writing in a notebook or something, just trying to stay away, but they're not sitting there being a jerk to everyone. Just go up to them and be like, hey, how you been? How you doing? All it takes is a handshake and a hello, because a lot of people, they just want to be heard, especially now. A lot of people are really hurting because of the social norms and the conformity and the complacency set by society, social media, and everything. That's what's making everybody so dang depressed. Now, social media, when it first came out, wasn't exactly a bad idea. It was, helping people, but you get other ones in there to infiltrate and bring up everything that they want because they had a bad experience. They're going to make it where everybody else is going to have a bad experience. So it's just do yourselves a favor and do not fall into the social norm. If the lady I'm talking to happens to hear this, just know I am working on myself as well, and I know she is, and I do love her, and I still want to build a lot of stuff with her on this. But we can all do better as a people, as a society. Use your mind. Use that beautiful mind. Transcend yourself. Do not fall for everybody else's BS. Do not sit there and say, well, because the celebrity's gone through this and said that. No, celebrities are just rich folk who just want to control the world, just like politics and everyone else. And heck, I even say evangelicals and televangelists, they live in a $200 million mansion, but they want you to give everything you have to them. I say, screw you, hippie. If I'm gonna talk to my creator and everything, I'm going to do it. But I'm not gonna listen to you. You want me to get this? Well, what am I getting in return? Oh, you can get this. Oh, I didn't know anything had a price tag. It's ridiculous, but there are some of those legit preachers who just sit there and say, just an offering if you want. It just helps keep the building running. Well, that's fine. The idea is to really just stay humble with one another, to break bread, regardless of your background. Help that person who's depressed instead of judging saying, oh, well, I don't like it when that's talking. No, it's mutual understanding that builds great foundations. I know I don't like hearing about that, but I know you just need to get that off your chest. Now that you did and you're not saying anymore, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. Or, you might still be going through this. Dude, just do what you need to do to make yourself better. Don't fall into the social status. Don't submit to the social norm. Because there's been great tales of people outside of the social norm that have made it. But that's because they stepped out of the box. Because somebody said, if you do this, I'm going to cut you off. Well, guess what? Fine, cut me off. I don't care. And guess what? They gone off and they gone on to do great things. I remember a story with a great uncle of mine where he was going to go and invest in foreign oil. This was back in the 30s or 40s. Well, no, it was the 40s and 50s. My grandma was telling me one time. But her dad, both their father, I should say, my great grandfather, told him, don't go investing in that. Don't be going and doing this. Don't be seeing that gal, because she just gonna ruin your life. And they weren't in a high social or rich family. Well, turned out after a while, his investment paid off, and the girl he had seen and everything over the years, they ended up having a lovely marriage together up until they both passed away. But that was the thing, was taking the risk. Yes, some risks do not work out, but that's because a lot of it's because of the social stuff going on nowadays, where you really can't do nothing about it anymore. But that's the thing, they tell you can't do nothing about it, but you really can. And with that, I just want to say, everybody, God bless. Remember, you're meant for something greater in this world. And I hope you found something worth listening to, even though I've gone rambling on and everything. The show's going to get funnier as time goes on, too. But I just wanted to get this kind of subject and topic off my chest and everything. And, hope everybody has a good time. Y'all take care now.